Tom Brady is very overrated.
Welcome back to the Fairweather Friends podcast. As always, I'm Veg, and to my left, Ricky Reyes.
Hey.
This is a bonus episode, so no friends on today.
Well, technically.
Okay, so in a way, we have a friend on. So
Technically, we're the friends on.
we are, in a way. So Jared Johnson, our frequent friend and guest on this show, as we mentioned the last time he was on, if you listened, he pretty much caught the bug as soon as he came on the first time with us. Decided he wanted to do his own podcast.
Thought he could do better.
That our podcast wasn't good enough for him. So, no, he wants to do a big one about people's lives. But in the meantime, he started one, kind of a tester show for him, a way for him to get the kinks out.
Yeah, it's a good way to iron out the kinks, especially if you're talking about something you're passionate about as well.
Yeah, so he's doing one. It's called Seattle Sports Today. If you listen to our last episode, we plugged it in the middle in our fake sponsorship segment.
If you know Jared at all, you know he's a big sports head and he's always been a homer. So
Yeah,
he's got good information on there.
Yeah, he just needs to get better about putting down his notes, and he's struggling with something that I did the first one time that you haven't done yet, the solo podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to pace yourself and make notes so you don't forget, because I remember when I did it, I forgot to mention a few things that I wanted to.
I'm still scared to try.
Yeah. It's not so bad. I think it takes a few probably to get the hang of, which I haven't done more than the one, but on his Seattle Sports Today, he came up with a segment called "Throw It to the Homies" or "Pass It to the Homies." I keep wanting to say
Pass
throw
it to the homies.
Pass it to the homies, which makes more. Well, I guess both pass and throw are sports references in a way.
That's true. Pass it to the homies is more of a weed reference, and he doesn't smoke. So
I was thinking pass the football, or pass the basketball. But yeah, so the segment is basically him coming up with a sports question and passing it off to someone to give their opinion on it. So his first one he did was with us, and he recorded it with us, though, on Skype, so it wasn't just us talking.
yeah, although in the future it might be.
Yeah, so I mean, he can throw it to us and we can record it, or pass it to us and we can record it, and he can just edit it in, or schedule permitting, do it with us. He's hoping to get some other people on, so if you're interested and you like sports and seem to always have an opinion, let Jared Johnson or us know, and we'll try to make that happen. But we recorded the first one with him, about 10 minutes of us talking about the most overrated athlete of all time.
Yeah, but then we had, once the conversation started, kind of hit me how long it's been since we've had an episode. So I tried to extend it a little bit and get.
Yeah, because this was a couple days. We recorded that about a couple days before we recorded our last episode. So it had been over 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it had been a while.
So so we kept going. So you'll hear the first part of it will be our doing this thing with Jared, and then the rest is just us kind of continuing a conversation about sports, and it went other ways. At the end, you'll notice it kind of cuts off. Ricky brings up most overrated movie of all time.
Movies, yeah, because Oscars are coming up.
And then his Skype cut out, and we lost him. So it kind of just ends. But whatever.
We'll pick that up eventually.
Yeah, maybe we'll have that conversation again one day when we've actually thought about it. But otherwise, enjoy. And like I said, if you want to go on Jared's podcast ever, let us know, and we'll let him know. Or just find Jared Johnson. iTunes, subscribe. Seattle Sports Today.
Yep.
I think he's keeping it to more of a tight, like 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot more editing than we do. Like he can.
Plus, it's just him talking, so he's just getting his opinions out and then calling it good instead of having a conversation and ramble on for
That's
an hour
true.
45.
We're more of the long form. He's refined.
And then look for us to start a network with him. We're going to try to get on the same podcast distributor as him, so that we can have have multiple different podcasts on it. So maybe you can hear me and Ricky talk about some other things as well. But we don't need to make this any longer of an intro than it already is. So enjoy, and thanks for all the support and listen.
Matt, let's start with you. We know that you have a podcast because I've already plugged it a few times on here. When did you get into sports? What is the history? I guess I know you're a Seattle sports fan more so than Ricky maybe, but how did that all start?
I always grew up playing sports. My dad was a huge football guy, so Seattle Seahawks. I mean, yeah, it was all Seattle sports. Mariners, Seahawks, Sonics. So still Mariners, and Seahawks. I also root for the Boston Red Sox. Stepdad's from Massachusetts area. Was a big Nomar Garciaparra fan. Now with basketball, we don't have Sonics, so I root for the team that has the most players that I like, which currently is Golden State Warriors because they got Durant, whose Sonics jersey is in storage, and Klay Thompson from my alma mater, Wazoo.
Nice. Yeah, that's. I think that's pretty normal in the Seattle area. I know a few Warrior fans besides you.
And when Durant leaves the Warriors, it'll probably change, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, Ricky, what about you? How did it all start for you? I know you're a Cowboys and Lakers fan. You got it all spread out everywhere.
Yeah. I like all the bandwagon teams.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I was a 49ers fan as a kid, so.
Me too, because, I grew up in the Bay Area, and the year Dion left the 49ers, I stopped rooting for them, and I just stuck a Cowboys fan ever since that.
Yeah.
And then basketball, whenever we moved from California to Washington, I was like, well, I'm not from here, so I'm not going to root for the Soups. So I just picked any team that I wanted. And that was right around the time that Kobe came in the league. So I've been a Lakers fan since then.
Yeah, I remember you always being a Kobe lover.
Not that I'd still watched like every Sonics game that was on fucking FSN.
Well, yeah, back then you had to because the only team you could see was the local team.
Yeah, that's true. It was rough sailing back then. You couldn't just go on Reddit and get the streams.
Yeah. I mean,
you
wouldn't do that though. You wouldn't do that. That's
I mean,
I was
a
what
part
about
of
any baseball or no? I mean, I know you played baseball quite a bit.
Yeah, big into baseball. Whenever I was little, I bet against the Yankees, and I lost to my dad, and I had to give him like my allowance.
Nice.
So ever since then, I just stuck with the Yankees because I'm not betting against them again. But
most of the time,
in the recent years, I've become a Mariners fan just because, got to root for somebody since I've been here for so long.
Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Okay, so I think I sent you this question a few days ago, and I figured you guys had some time to think about it, and now I'll give you my thoughts on it. But who is the most overrated player of all time in any sport? I recorded earlier, and I made the case not that he's the most overrated player of all time, but Tom Brady is very overrated in the way that if you look at his skill set and his talent, he's not any more talented than some of the quarterbacks that came before him or are currently in the league even. Like if you compare him to Peyton Manning or to Aaron Rodgers, like skill-wise, he's probably about on par, or they might even be considered better than him. But he has the coach that I feel like it takes a step above everybody else.
Well, against that argument, Wentz is supposedly the more talented quarterback, but I'll take who's the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I don't know that you'd say Wentz. I wouldn't say Wentz is more talented, but
everyone else does.
Yeah, it's pretty much unanimous.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, well. Okay, so anyways, that brought me to thinking about the question as I was thinking about that. And so what do you guys think? Who's the most overrated player of all time in any sport?
So I thought about it a long time, and I realized we talk about so much that almost everybody is properly rated now because everyone's talked about them so much. So I had to think of who was overrated at the time of while they were playing, and I had to go Tony Romo.
I fucking knew that one of you guys was gonna say that.
He was considered like a top 5 quarterback for a good 5-6 years. He's got 6 playoff games, only won 2 of them. His numbers aren't terrible, but he never threw for 300 in a playoff game. Has 8 fumbles, which is pretty bad, but he only lost 4. And he's also the most overrated analyst. I'm so sick of it.
You're just trying to promote yourself over.
I'm not sure if he's. I actually like him as an announcer so far. I think he's been pretty good, but that's just me. I mean, I understand the whole. He picks a player. He knows he can read a defense or whatever, but I think a lot of quarterbacks could probably do that. But I mean, not Brock Heward, but. What about you, Ricky? Have you given it any thought?
Well, I was gonna think for modern. My answer would have been Kirk Cousins, but you guys got it. It's not really a bomb.
I heard something about Kirk Cousins when I got rejoined.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say for a modern answer is Kirk Cousins, but he picked Tom Brady, and he's a modern answer.
Oh,
And
I
then you
didn't pick
pick
Tom
Romo.
Brady. No, that's not what I'm saying. He's not the most overrated of all time. I just thought he was he's overrated. That's all.
How can you be overrated though when you've been to 9 Super Bowls and won
But do
6?
you think that if
Ask LeBron.
if Peyton Manning was on that team, it would have made any difference?
It's not really a fair question because there's no way to know.
Well, I know that, but it's
You
your
can't take it-
opinion.
You can't take points away from Brady because you think that someone else might have been just as good in his position. I don't
Well, I'm
know.
not
I guess, you
saying
can.
he's the greatest of all time. I'm not saying that.
I guess you can.
I'm just saying that I think that Belichick has more to do with it than him. That's what I would say.
Well, the Cleveland Browns, when Belichick was there, might disagree.
He was there for like one day, wasn't he?
Who was the team he
He was
coached
there for
for
a
2
year.
years?
Was he there for a whole year?
There was a
Or, no, it might have
there's
been the
one
Giants.
team. There's a couple teams. One of them he was there for a day.
Huh.
Overrated.
Okay. Well,
the first name that comes to mind is Sean Alexander.
most overrated.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
He was a league MVP with the record for most touchdowns in a season at one point.
Overrated.
But he did have
Anybody
a
could
really
have done that
good
behind that
offensive
line.
line.
And got to a Super Bowl.
I think he's gonna have 2 Hall of Fame linemen on his line by the end of it. Hutch is probably gonna get in next year, I'm thinking, and Jones is already in.
Switch him with LT.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Ricky?
I can't think of any basketball players. Greg Oden.
I don't know. He was overrated. He never even played, did he?
That's true.
Overrated in college, maybe. He was playing left-handed most of the time because his right wrist was effed.
Yeah. Okay, so mine actual overrated player is Cal Ripken Jr. Because
I was gonna say
Iron Man?
I've always thought he was overrated. His career average is 276. Sorry. He played a lot of games, but beyond that, he hit a lot of home runs, 400, which is good for a shortstop. But I just don't like overall. I felt like he's considered like one of the best of all time, and he like batted over 300. Let's see, twice in which he played most like a fair amount of games. The other ones he had a couple. He had a 340, but he only played 80 games that year. But I always felt like he was overrated, and people usually argue with that one. But
I consider Derek Jeter. His career average is actually 310.
I considered that too. But
And
I
it's over
think,
3,000.
Of course you would have.
Considered it.
well, because me and Ricky were going back and forth a little bit on Mariano Rivera and Edgar Martinez being, because I think that Edgar, because Mariano Rivera is kind of a specialist. He was a specialist, and so was Edgar. But Edgar had, in some ways, more impact on the game because he batted 3 times every day. Mariano Rivera probably pitched maybe 4 days a week at best.
Yeah, but he had his accolades. He won
Yeah, I
like
know.
how many titles? 5 titles.
Yeah, I know. Well, Edgar, I mean, yeah, it's true. But, I mean, he had the Yankees also.
Well, and he
What
was
if Edgar
pretty
was
much,
on the Yankees? What would happen then? You never know. Similar thing as Brady.
He would have got traded in the Robinson Cano trade. if he was anywhere else.
But yeah, so that was my choice. I've kind of thought that for years. Cal Ripken.
Do you have a baseball one, Vic?
I was just looking at a few. Not really. I was thinking almost for Mariners.
Richie Sexton?
Jay Buhner's almost maybe overrated.
Yeah, I
At
wouldn't
least
doubt
by
that.
Mariners fans.
He didn't
Bite your
even
tongue.
he didn't have many years even of really good play. That was the thing, which is why he's a Mariner Hall of
He
Famer.
was career 254 hitter, 310 home runs,
Yeah, injured a lot, especially
But-
later in his career.
greatest walkout music in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Bad to the bone.
Greatest gimmick, too. Whenever you would shave your head and get in for free or whatever.
Yeah, I think I considered doing that once. I didn't actually do it.
And now he sells trucks.
Yeah, that place is terrible.
Is
This
it?
is the anti-ad for that
The
place.
commercials are really good.
Yeah, I have a friend that bought a truck from there, and he had to take it back. It had been in a massive wreck, and they didn't tell him, and all this stuff. It was
Oh my God, I never knew this. Jay Buhner was a Yankee.
you didn't know that?
when he was 22, 23.
I
I
knew
never
that.
knew he started his career at the
It was
Yankees.
on Seinfeld. They talked
I
about
was just gonna
Yeah.
say they mentioned him on Seinfeld.
Yeah,
How did I
they
miss that? I've seen
traded him.
that whole series like 5 times.
Yeah, they said like I think they say like this is the worst something since the Jay Buhner trade or whatever. But
He never even played more than 158 games in a year. Most years he was lucky to get over 120.
yeah, he was injured I think a lot, and I mean I think it's more his. I mean he was a good defender. He was always until he got older obviously, but
Yeah, that's the weird thing is he was known for being a good power hitter, but he was really a better defender than he was a hitter.
yeah,
He just wasn't
he
fast.
had a cannon in the outfield.
Yeah,
like-
a ton of an arm.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anybody that would be like for basketball.
What about Albert Pujols?
No, he's not overrated. He's damn good when in
He's
his
not
time.
been worth that contract.
No,
at
for
all.
sure. But
No, but
nobody
everyone-
is.
Everyone knew that he wouldn't be worth that contract, and the Angels did it anyway. There's a reason the Cardinals let him walk away.
Yeah. And
Never
also,
been
there's a
fan
lot.
of that guy.
I've heard a lot of things saying that maybe he lied about his age, that he was actually older than he says he is. But
A true Puerto Rican.
They say that about all Puerto Ricans.
Where's Tony?
yeah. But yeah, let's see who. Let's see.
Basketball, I don't know. Karl Malone, John Stockton.
No, they're not overrated. They're
Karl Malone
considered-
and Gary Payton.
Hey,
I don't know.
I can't say that publicly.
Also, don't think those
got
guys are
the 06
overrated,
Heat
but-
to a championship.
What about Ray Allen?
I don't know.
Never really that successful as the band.
He was overrated when he was on the Bucks and Sonics because he was like Klay Thompson in college. Everyone thought Klay Thompson was a really good player on a bad team, but I was like, no, if you put him in a role where he gets to just be the number 2 or 3 guy and shoot open threes, he's great. And Ray Allen, when he was on the Bucks and Sonics, they tried to make him into the guy who created for everybody, and that's not him. So first half of his career, I'd say he was overrated, and then when he got on teams where he got to be the spread the floor guy and hit open shots, it's finally the role that he was meant for.
So is he? So you're saying he's like as good as Michael Redd or something? Because isn't that what he was like known for too, like making threes? And he was on the
Well, he
Bucks
was
also.
He was a better version of Michael Redd.
Yeah.
Michael Redd never left and won a title.
And in the second half of his career, when he got to just do that, Ray Allen there's a reason he's got the most 3-pointers of all time for now.
Yeah. What about Reggie Miller? Overrated or what? I always kind of felt like he was, but
I think he's properly rated.
yeah.
He played in the wrong time, because if he played now,
Oh fuck, he'd be a
Oh
monster.
yeah.
was a true shooting, small forward that just got to shoot open threes.
Yeah, that's true.
He was trying to do it before anyone realized how valuable they were.
I mean, I love the highlight of him like making 3 threes in like 11 seconds or whatever. But let's see.
And he talked shit, which was, you always got to respect that.
Yeah, you do. Especially nowadays. It's just not the same. What did you guys think of the Football Alliance thing? The new league.
I didn't watch it. I just
no.
watched clips.
It was pretty good, I thought. I watched like maybe a quarter or so.
Yeah, I watched maybe a quarter. It was the game where they were kicking field goals. The over-under was supposed to be like 50-something points because they have a shorter shot clock or play clock.
Yeah. And you can't kick extra points and
Oh, they can't
point
kick extra
conversion.
points?
Yeah, no extra points. 2-point conversion every time. There's no onside kicks. You have to make a 4th and 12 in order to get the ball back.
No,
So
it needs
kinda
to
like-
happen.
That's what happens. Yeah, but
No,
you have to be
freaking-
down. You have to be down
Mid-
by 17 points or the last 5 minutes of the game.
Midway Sports needs to buy this game and make a new NFL blitz.
Yeah, and
Well,
overtime.
XFL's coming back again.
Yeah, that's
They're going to be a
So-
year too late because everybody's going to
Yeah.
be in on the AAF, and then they're going to be like, "Oh, what's this?"
I can't believe that Trent Richardson got another shot. Why? He
you
failed in
gotta
the Canadian Football League.
Who was Matt Asiata was in there? Wasn't he on the Vikings last year?
Maybe 2 years ago. Was it? I don't think it was last year. Was it? But and
I think
Christian
he was on
Hackenberg.
top, right?
Christian
Yeah.
Hackenberg was in there. Still hasn't scored
Yeah.
a point in professional football. I saw a tweet about that. But they got
Yeah.
really good ratings because everyone was bragging about how they went up against the NBA at the same time and had like the same exact ratings.
yeah, pretty crazy.
I watched that game.
You watch
That was the one I was
basketball?
watching a little bit of.
I watched
tweeted.
Thunder Rockets.
My
I
mom
didn't
had me tweet at Pete Carroll to pick up one of them field goal
I've seen
kickers.
that.
Yeah, I did see that too. I think that
I saw-
that's actually probably the most likely position to come out of there. I think that
Probably.
the kickers are probably going to be the most likely to make it to the NFL because they have like everybody has a 3-year contract. It's like $250,000 over 3 years or something. And they said, and so, but they can be released instantly. They can leave to go to the NFL. They can't leave to go to the XFL though. But yeah, so I think kickers are probably the most likely because they're, I mean, the other guys they would already probably be signed to a practice squad or whatever if they were, you know.
I don't know who was that short running back in the first game.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, you're right. He
He
did.
looked good.
But what is he playing against? It's kind of hard to tell yet what the quality.
No, but
is, I
enough
guess.
to get a
look.
tryout,
Yeah.
a spring training
for sure.
night,
Yeah,
or spring training, whatever they call it in the NFL.
yeah. We'll have to see, I guess, as we get a little closer to.
Training camp.
Yeah.
Training
even- yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's gonna be it for this edition of Pass It to the Homies. But I thank you guys for being on, and we'll catch up next week. I'll send you a question here in the next day or two.
Thanks.
Alright.
Yeah, I always enjoy talking sports.
Yeah, of course. We'll have you on all the time, so it'll be all good. Oh, actually, one more thing before we go. Plug your podcast just for fun. What is it
Oh,
about?
what is your
podcast?
Fairweather.
How do we
Friends-
find it? I guess.
The Fairweather Friends podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Podbean, Twitch,
Stitcher.
not Twitch, Stitcher.
YouTube.
Pretty much everywhere.
YouTube.
Yeah, you get a YouTube channel that they go up on. Yeah, we just have friends on and talk about whatever.
What do you guys think? You guys think we should continue this on ours or what?
I guess you got the lead.
All right. And we're back on another episode of the Fairweather Friends podcast. I, of course, am Matt Vig. Here to my right is.
I'm Vig. That was Ricky.
Oh god.
All right. And, we're actually not together this time. This is the first time we've been apart for recording, right?
Yeah, we've always been in the same location. Our guest isn't always with us.
And on the phones, we have the one and only. For his, what, is this 4 or 5?
I think it's only 4.
This is a fourth appearance.
Yeah.
4th appearance.
People are getting tired of me probably.
You're a new hope.
Yeah.
We finally got our marketing down a little better. We got the Hook and Liz episode to over 50 downloads.
Yeah, they're
First
yeah.
one's to break the 50 download mark. So we're getting a little better at when we put them out and how we promote them.
That one was really good too. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't even know them that well. Like I knew Hook in school, but I never even knew him
School
after
was
that.
a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a different guy probably, but like
No, he's
that's
not.
what I mean. So I mean, like I feel like even though I didn't know them, it was awesome to listen to. So I had fun with it. I laughed, whatever.
Matt Vig's Mind Games is going to sweep the nation.
Yeah, it's going viral.
I just want to make people get defensive about whether they know about things they like. And Hook and Liz definitely got defensive, even though they did pretty well.
Yeah.
They didn't realize they were such a good team until we brought it out of them.
So what are we doing this episode?
All right, guys, let's see. Yeah, I got something popping up here. Trade deadline. You guys surprised that Anthony Davis didn't go?
I'm not surprised necessarily. I've read a couple articles saying that they kept asking more and more from the Lakers, and just every time they talk to him, they just say, "Okay, now add this player on, add this player on." So that was part of they didn't even actually end up talking. I think that within a couple hours of the trade deadline. So
They were definitely pissed that Clutch is not Lakers, but Clutch is LeBron, really. And LeBron's on the Lakers, and that it appeared to mastermind this situation where the Lakers were the best option for the Pelicans, and the Pelicans really had no other option. But they do. They can wait. They have them a year and a half under contract. So it makes no sense for the Pelicans to rush trade him right before the deadline when they could wait for the Celtics to put together an offer also and see what the full landscape is. What's annoying to me is now the NBA is pretty much forcing them to play him.
Yeah.
So now they have to play this guy who doesn't want to play for them, and if he gets hurt, they lose all the trade value.
Yeah. Yeah.
New
So
Orleans
what is
played
the?
this.
Go ahead.
New Orleans played this all wrong. They should have just pitted themselves against LA, piggybacked off the Saints, won the city over.
I do like what did you see the Pelicans? They played him to about halfway through the third quarter, and they didn't play him the rest of the game because it was a close game, and they only lost by like 2.
Yeah.
So they're trying to balance playing him and tanking still, which is kind of hilarious. And he like was destroying.
Hasn't he said that he only will play for the Lakers though, or no?
No, he
He's
gave
got
like
a list of 4 teams:
Oh, okay. What were they? Do you know?
Lakers, Knicks, Bucks, maybe Clippers. I don't remember.
I'm sending him to the Knicks
Before
then.
everyone else.
It was me at least.
Can you imagine him and Giannis?
Yeah.
The only value the Knicks have is get the potential #1 pick.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's probably why it wouldn't ever go through. But because I think that they want a whole bunch. Like, I think they want more.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if
They said the Lakers offered every young player they have, basically.
It was Brandon Ingram. So
they could have like 3 of 4, right? Something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Kuz as well. Josh Hart, Zubac, and 2 #1 picks.
Yeah. Ah.
Or they could get Jason Tatum from the Celtics.
That's pathetic. Why would you turn that down just for Jason Tatum?
Not just for Jason Tatum. Tatum, Rozier, who's the other young? It's like guy 1 year older than Tatum. Damn it.
Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown. Plus they have good picks also from other
No,
teams.
one of their picks isn't as good as they thought it was going to be because the Kings are surprisingly good.
But they still have a bunch of picks piled up they could use.
I think there's only one other one they have.
The Knicks should have traded Porzingis to the Pelicans.
Offer was out there.
Sorry to change the subject, but do you see that it's the anniversary of when Jeremy Lin outscored Kobe Bryant?
Made a career out of it?
Yeah, he did.
Mike ever do that to anybody? I don't think so.
Yeah, he really helped him
That's
out.
because they never beat him.
Huh?
His bitch ass. Making friends with him before the game.
That was a pretty interesting thing, that whole insanity thing. I remember it being just like, it was only for maybe a year, was it even? I don't even know if it was a full year, but
Do you know what team he plays for now?
I don't. Phoenix?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know he still played, to be honest with you, but
The whole only reason that it was such a big thing was, well, 2 things. One, that it was in New York,
yep.
who aren't used to having good things happen to them in the NBA. And 2, because he's Asian, and people are like, oh my god, an Asian from Harvard?
Yeah, you're
He's
right.
good at sports?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just felt like I had to take a little dig at Ricky for that because, I've always hated Kobe. I hate to say that, but
Well, there's a
Yeah,
Twitter.
Speaking of anniversaries, isn't this the 5th year since you guys have won the title?
oh yeah,
Super Bowl? Like 5 years over 25 years.
yeah.
Yeah, but we're tied for the second most behind the Patriots now.
I mean, don't you think you should have said like it's been this long since the Lakers won, and it's been way longer since the Sonics won?
Yeah, Sonics is a low blow.
Speaking, did you see
Can't
the
make
Did you
doesn't.
see the interview with Chris Hansen this week? Or
Uh-uh.
hear about it?
I did.
He's still trying to get the arena done. He says he wants to. He's petitioning for them to vacate Occidental still, but now with he won't even start unless he has a team bought, and so like there's no risk really for the city. And he said he would go in an ownership if somebody wants to go to Key Arena, but he doesn't want to be the biggest investor in that because he doesn't think it's I guess successful in that way. But he wants to still do the stadium in Soto and still he's working hard I guess to try to do that. And he said his biggest thing is just getting the Sonics back. He doesn't even doesn't really necessarily care about money or anything else. Just wants the team back, and he'll do whatever he has to do to get that. So it's kind of pretty cool. Pretty cool. You could go back and listen to it on probably like 710 podcasts or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty good. You know,
I read
cool
the
to hear
proposal.
again.
Seen the design of the new the arena.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw some of that online.
Yeah, he's pretty. He seems like he's pretty more so than just an investor. I guess that's always kind of what my thought has been, is that he doesn't. It's not about his investing as much for him as it is. I mean, he's gonna make money no matter how he looks at it. Probably, he just made apartment complexes where those things where he's all the land he owns, it would be fine. But he said he won't do that until there's a basketball team here. So
Who do you think the most likely team is to move? New Orleans?
It seems like it.
Once they lose Anthony Davis, they really got nothing.
yeah, I don't know.
Thought it would be Sacramento a few years ago, and then Kevin Johnson went and saved their ass.
So,
Yeah, no, it was basically a done deal almost. Like they had already agreed. He said they lost $30 million on that deal, like that was non-refundable to the Maloofs. He put a $30 million deposit down that was non-refundable, and then when all that backed down and they kept him, he lost all that money. So kind of crazy.
Stupid city.
I'd be pretty upset. But
son of a bitch. What do you guys think about the new hockey team? Excited? Don't care?
No, it'd be fun to go. I've still never even gone to the Everett Silvertips, but
so I went to the Pittsburgh Penguins when I was over there.
How was that?
It was like $16 for like third row seats. Pretty damn
Jesus.
cool.
that
and-
won't be the case in Seattle.
Well, maybe not at first, but Penguins are like a really good team. Sidney Crosby and everybody. And
Well,
the
shout
thing,
out-
I went to
Give a
Vancouver.
shout out to. Oh yeah, how was your Canucks experience?
That was more expensive. It was against. I guess it was the Boston Bruins came to town, but it was cool. It was fun seeing it in that atmosphere. They have a lot more weird stuff for crowd interaction too.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. They're super fast. It's amazing. You don't even, I don't know. It's hard to grasp how fast they are when you watch it on TV or whatever. But
Their period breaks are really long though.
yeah, there was a. So I think they were playing the Islanders when I was watching, and it was there was like two guys from Bellingham too on there. That was kind of cool. They were on that team. They played for the
That's
Bells or whatever it is. I don't know what the team is in Bellingham, but
That's baseball.
yeah, okay. Well,
Greg, you remember
there's a
going
hockey
to,
team up there somewhere too.
The Western game with Corey?
Western game? What do you mean?
Did you go to the Western game with Corey, or did you not?
I don't think I went to the Western game with Corey.
Oh shit! I always think you're there whenever Corey's there. Automatically.
The basketball
I'm just
one, or?
Greg was there too. No, it was hockey.
Oh no, I definitely did not.
That was badass.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Bought an air horn and everything.
That would have been fun.
So I think I'll get more into hockey when it comes in. It's just a matter, like I've never really been into it except for when the Mighty Ducks were good in like high school, I think. And then I
still
watched the playoffs.
Back. Like I still don't pay attention to the Sounders, but I'll go to a Sounders game.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's different. I mean, I've watched some Sounders games too, but never really got big into it. But I never played soccer.
I was a big Clint Dempsey fan.
Yeah. He
I recently downloaded NHL 18 and FIFA 18. And
Nice.
I've been playing FIFA a lot more than NHL.
That's how I learned the rules to soccer. Is I played that game, not 18, but I think it was probably 16 or something. But yeah, I played that a bunch and learned the rules and learned a bunch of players and.
Yeah, I've been playing Ultimate Team.
Oh yeah. I never
I
got
remember
into that.
playing- I remember playing hockey on Sega with Daniel Dills growing up. You just have one person would get the puck and the other one would go ahead of them and just check people out of the way.
Yeah. That was the best thing about hockey games is just
That's the
Fighting.
entire strategy.
just smashing people. Yeah, exactly. Just
The only
smashing
strategy I learned at hockey, and apparently that's not legal in real hockey.
Icing, checking, sticking.
You can't just
Yeah.
go run people over to clear the way.
Should be able to.
people. Yeah, it was
We
kind
didn't-
of. Go
Have
ahead.
we had a post Super Bowl episode, Vic?
No, we didn't end up. Everything fell apart the last like 2 weeks.
Well,
Everything was shut.
Congratulations, goddamn Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly.
Sean McVay with the most pathetic fucking display of offense in the last 50 years in the Super Bowl.
In some ways, it reminded me of the Seahawks, like how
Goddamn Stone Age.
everybody's complaining about Pete Carroll not changing his offense.
Mhm.
Kind of reminded me of that, like how he didn't change his offense for anything, even though he was getting shut down. Like he just kept running the same, style and everything. Didn't change much of anything. But
Who would have guessed Jared Goff wouldn't come through in big moments?
I
would
would
have guessed that Todd Gurley would play like 4 plays.
Yeah, he
He had 10 carries, sir. But no,
Fucking never mentioned that man as a number 1 running back. It's pathetic.
I've never seen a guy have such a great first 10 weeks. And then, he got hurt, but still.
I think I picked him as MVP like on the first time I was on. 'Cause
I did
Meg
at
did too.
8 weeks. I picked him as my MVP.
Yeah, he was having a hell of a year. And then,
Which actually maybe it proves his case, because as soon as he wasn't a part of the offense, the rest of the offense fell apart.
yeah, I've seen some people say that he should be traded now because he's got the highest paid running back, but nobody would want him if he's.
Cut him and sign Le'Veon. You got yourself title.
He
Yeah,
just
but he
needs to
already.
get healthy again. He's fine.
Well, and
No.
he just signed that contract before last year, so it'd be probably a huge cap penalty.
There's got to be something wrong with him. He's not willing to lay it all in line in that situation.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. I got home with 10 minutes left in the game, and me and my stepdad were the only ones rooting for the Patriots. So at least got to see the disappointment on so many people's faces. I was like, oh, guys, it's fourth quarter Brady time. It was like, there's only 3 things in this world we can trust: death, taxes, and fourth quarter Brady.
I was
like,
fairly.
Right after I said that, he threw the only touchdown, or threw it down to Gronk, and they scored
yeah.
the only touchdown in the game.
Yeah.
Gronk rules. Gronk
Yeah.
deserves all the praise.
This whole season's going to be remembered for 2 things, though: the Saints no call, and then the lowest scoring Super Bowl ever.
Yeah.
The supposed genius gets shut down.
Yeah. How did that make everybody who was, everybody wanted to hire his coaches? Wonder how they felt after that.
His coaching tree.
Yeah, making the coaching tree already. But he. I was kind of indifferent mostly. That's how I felt during the game. Like usually I'll find, even if I wasn't into the 2 teams, I'd find a team to root for. But for the most part, I was like, oh, I don't really want them to win. I don't really want them to win. It was like, whoever wins, okay. And once the Patriots won, I did turn it off though.
No celebrating.
No, I can't watch that. It's just like those damn Sports Illustrated commercials that come on. Your team just won the Super Bowl.
New England Patriots.
Yeah, sign up and get the free hat or whatever that was. Yeah, I was so excited when the Seahawks won for that reason. I was like, "Where's that commercial? Where's that commercial?" But even then, that one when the Seahawks won, I was in shock. I think for the first little while, didn't even feel real. I'd been waiting my whole life basically for a Seattle team to win, and I felt like it was just that to happen. It was like it just didn't register for a week or something.
I was in Seattle, so it registered pretty quick.
I went to the parade.
I was working during the Super Bowl and during the parade, but we had the game on, while I was working, and it just felt like it happened super fast.
Yeah.
When Irvin ran the second half kickoff back and made it a 24-point game or whatever, that made it and pretty much sealed it.
Yeah.
Didn't he run the opening kickoff back?
No, second half.
Second half kickoff.
Was?
Bounced off the ground and everything. And it was.
It was 22-0 already.
It's the opening of the game, Ricky. We got the safety.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Unpaid man.
Because he didn't go no sound or whatever.
Yeah, and the guy just snapped it when he wasn't paying attention, right?
Yeah, but it was too. They said it was really loud.
But
those damn Seahawks fans.
Yeah, that one just went by really fast. The one against Brady. Ugh.
What was that Super Bowl at?
New York.
The first one?
Yeah. New York, and then the second one was in Arizona.
Yeah. You know who deserves the title is Larry Fitzgerald.
He does. I actually would like to see him. I don't want the Patriots necessarily to keep winning Super Bowls, but it would be kind of actually a fun storyline to see Fitzgerald go to the Patriots and play with Brady for a year or two.
I don't know that I want that, but yeah, I want him to win a championship for sure. He's one of the. Although I did see a story about him being he, uh, he has kids that he doesn't ever see, kind of thing.
Oh,
But I mean,
well,
can't get into that too much. Off the field is different than on the field, unless he's doing like, beating his wife or something.
but
Or
two of
being
two of my most favorite players have been found guilty of beating their wives.
Is that
not a laughing matter, but
Actually,
no, Jose Reyes and Chad Ochocinco.
Okay.
and we were talking about overrated players on your podcast, Jared. Michael Vick. Speaking of off-field stuff, Michael Vick might be one of the most overrated players ever. He's considered like the best Madden player ever. But as far as like,
he was running, his speed was ridiculous.
yeah, when
Until
you
next year.
throw away,
Until
a run,
next year's Mahomes.
but he never really had any that great of.
No, you're right.
Actual
He was
success.
never accurate, super accurate as a quarterback.
He's got a super good deep pass, but no short.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
he
like
was.
Cam Newton. Everything's a freaking laser throw.
Yeah, but his speed was, and it was just hard to account for. I think that was definitely why Madden he was ridiculous, but in real life probably not much different. But even then, once he got to like the Eagles, I think he was better, like at throwing than he was maybe running at that point.
When he was like 30 and hadn't been in the league for 2
Yeah,
years.
exactly. But
Speaking of Jared's podcast, which we just came from, we did most overrated on yours.
Yeah.
What's your guys' takes on most underrated?
oh, that's a good
Tracy
one.
McGrady. No bias there at all.
He gets his due now as an analyst.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. You can't really say underrated anymore.
Could you say Vince Carter then in that same aspect or no?
He could be underappreciated because they let D Wade and Dirk into the All-Star game, and then you got VC over there in Atlanta.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but
especially now.
legends. Why only 2?
That's a good point. Well, one from each conference seems like a good idea. I like the overall idea of including the legends, but
Yeah, though you don't take away a spot from someone who deserves it just because of popularity.
Did you like how they did it, the picking teams? Have they been doing that for a while or no?
last year was first.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't remember that.
And they didn't televise it last year, and they wouldn't tell who got picked where. But then LeBron admitted to picking Durant first last year, because he's like, he picked Durant, and the guy's like, oh, just like last year you took Durant first. He's like, yep. He's like, oh, so you admit it now because you wouldn't admit it last year
Nice.
because the NBA didn't want them to tell.
Giannis is a super funny guy.
He was hilarious.
Isn't this tampering?
It's just tampering.
Let's see. Who was another underrated guy?
I can only think of guys who are like great and who are
Yeah, I know it's hard. to
definitely
think.
appreciated.
What about Rashard?
Sonics.
Shard Lewis.
Sure, yeah. He was
Properly?
huge in getting Orlando to the finals.
Yeah. And he was pretty good when the Sonics had him, and he was the year they played against the Spurs and lost.
The OG Splash Brothers?
Him and Ray Allen, yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty good that year. I think was he traded right after that, or free agent? I don't remember.
I think he became a free agent because he got a big deal from Orlando.
Yeah. Yeah, that was,
Hito Turkoglu?
yeah. I liked him a lot.
Pito Pito. Deja was on the team, wasn't
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was really good in whatever NBA game at that time. He could hit all the threes. I don't even know what game it was. NBA Live something, and he was one of the guys that I would go to.
he? I remember that.
Underappreciated. We go Bobby Ingram, Seahawks.
Yeah.
The king on third down.
I was always a Daryl Jackson guy.
Yeah, except that Daryl Jackson had a habit of dropping the ball.
Great man.
He's a great big play guy, but he would drop the easy ones.
How about fucking Curse?
Javon?
Curse is man.
Yeah,
He's so clutch.
they were talking about this last year as being one of the most clutch playoff receivers. He had some of the biggest catches, like, playoffs.
He even had a solid year this year with fucking Darnold.
Guess it was. I don't know. I didn't really pay much attention to the Jets, Ricky.
Yeah, I don't think he had
listen
that
to fantasy
good
talk.
year, but
No, I
actually-
listen to fantasy talk every day. He was on the
Oh, yeah.
radar.
I mean, he's definitely clutch. Like, had we won that Super Bowl against the Patriots, that catch would be considered probably one of the best catches in the history of Super Bowls. The where he bobbled it a bunch and caught it on the
Like,
ground.
between his knees or whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
How about instead of an overrated player, an overrated topic? Signing kickers.
I mean,
It's
this
not
year I
over-
think proved that that's not true. That you need a kicker.
If the
That's better.
Seahawks would have held on to Hauschka our whole season, every Seahawks fan is so pissed that they let Hauschka walk away to the freaking Bills. And then we let them take our punter, too, although that worked out okay. They've got our kicker and punter.
Yeah, John Ryan.
Yeah,
John Ryan's man.
he went there last year. We cut him for Dixon.
Underrated. You think of any baseball?
So I'm looking at a list and it says Ray Allen's number one for most underrated, which is kind of funny.
Underrated.
Yeah, underrated. Got Chris
Baseball.
Bosch, got Paul Pierce, Manu Ginobili, Steve Nash, Rudy
Bosch was
Gay,
tight. Rudy Gay's
Michael
tight.
Redd.
Steve Nash underrated. Fuck that. Come on. He stole two of Kobe's MVPs.
Yeah, Chris Paul.
I was always a Paul fan.
I was always a fan of his.
I know, I forgot you were a Paul fan.
Hey, you're a Dwight Howard fan.
Yeah. I had no problem with Paul on the was the Hornets at the time.
Yeah, on the Hornets, and then once he went to LA,
Yeah, as a Clipper, he was awful.
I couldn't. Blake Griffin though, that guy's hilarious.
I like him now that he's a Piston. Hated him on the Clippers, too.
Man, I saw he makes threes all the time now, or what? I saw him shoot.
He's completely transformed his game.
Yeah, I feel like he is a different player than when I saw him on the Clippers. Which I haven't watched a ton of basketball.
Playmaker for other people.
Yeah.
Baseball, I'd say Torrey Hunter. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
One of the great defensive center fielders of all time.
He was.
he was always my favorite player.
Wasn't Omar Vizquel kind of that same way though? I mean, he didn't
So,
really. He was never a good hitter. And even Ozzie Smith, going back even further, I think he was mostly defense.
Ozzy was the wizard.
Yeah. But he
Also
did.
foul.
Yeah, he made some ridiculous plays. But so did Omar.
Omar was crazy. He played for like 30 years too.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders was a little overrated as a baseball player. I'm gonna say it.
I just watched this 30 for 30.
Nice.
How he almost single-handedly got that Braves World Series.
This list I just pulled up of overrated players, Omar Vizquel's on it.
Nice.
80 home runs. No, as overrated, not underrated.
Oh, overrated.
See, we're backwards with everybody else. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had only 80 home runs, less than 1,000 RBIs in
Oh,
23 seasons.
That's probably true.
What about Nick Carlson? You guys both Nick Carlson fans?
I mean, I have to be a fan of his because he's the only Sonic left.
Do you support him getting a jersey in the rafters?
I thought that was a little too far.
Yeah, that's what I agree.
Although
Uh,
they used to when Durant was still in the Thunder, they used to call him the last remaining Sonic, and it always pissed me off because I'd be like, Nick Carlson's sitting right there. He was been there longer than Durant, and he's still there. And then after Durant leaves, then they remember, oh yeah, we got Nick Carlson. He used to be a Sonic.
So this is most underrated current players, and somehow they have Mike Zunino as the catcher. I'm not sure how that goes. Maybe as a defensive catcher, I guess.
Catchers
but-
are not good hitters.
No, they're
That's a good
not.
point.
Not historically.
So
I mean,
him and he's the Mariners career leader in home runs.
The funny thing is that their shortstop is Segura, so Mariners have traded now 2 of them.
Segura, he batted over 300 again last year.
Yeah, I think he's been pretty good for the last few years.
He's not great at throwing the ball to first base.
No, he's definitely not.
It's stressful.
What's that noise?
When you guys
Hear that noise?
I think it's my water heater.
Oh. Well, it's a good thing you have like some editing software.
Usually the microphone doesn't pick it up that well.
Oh, well, good. It sounds like a jet engine on my side. Yeah, exactly.
Underrated. We did baseball, basketball, football,
Kind of football, but
but underrated.
yeah, I don't
Sean
know.
Alexander. He was an MVP, you sons of bitches. He set the
He
record.
didn't deserve it.
Huh?
He didn't deserve it.
Why did he not deserve it? He had 28 touchdowns and 1,800 yards rushing.
Steve Hutchinson. That's why he got those yards. What was the other guy's name?
Walter Jones.
Walter Jones.
Walter Jones has a statue.
Name a running back outside of Barry Sanders. Name a running back outside of Barry Sanders who was great without a good offensive line.
Peterson.
The Vikings, they took Hutch from us. He had Hutch the whole time.
Peterson has put up consistent numbers. In what? Who did he play for? Washington?
Alexander for 6 years.
Who else? Saquon?
That's true. But a lot of that was receiving, which Alexander was not a receiving running back.
Thus making him overrated.
He still got 28 touchdowns with only one of them was catching. One receiving touchdown the whole year. Still got 28.
How many of them were inside the 5?
Somehow this one says Drew Brees, most underrated player in the NFL. I can't agree with that. He's
Well, not after
properly
this year.
rated.
Before this year.
Yeah, he's properly.
Ricky, listen to
rated.
this 5-year stretch Sean Alexander had. 5 years between 1,175 yards and 880 with a minimum 14 touchdowns. Rushing. Receiving between 1 and 4 those years. So he had at least 16 touchdowns each of those years for 5 straight years.
Oh, I have one. Steven Jackson. I think he is underrated.
Underrated?
Yeah, he was pretty good for a long time.
For the Rams, he was killer.
Yeah.
Not so much on the Falcons.
No.
He was there when the Rams got bad again. So, Steven Jackson, he had a 8-year stretch where he had at least 1,046 yards rushing, but no more than 1,528. Touchdowns only got to double digits one of those years.
Well, who was his quarterback for
Rushing.
each of those years?
Bulger.
Mark Bulger, come on.
He's okay. I guess he's maybe Hasselbeck-esque. I don't know.
But yeah, never a big touchdown guy. More receiving, but actually never had more than 3 receiving touchdowns in a year.
That's
Most
crazy.
years he had 1 or 0.
They used to always call him a receiving threat.
So you're saying Steven Jackson is underrated,
I
and
think he
Sean
is.
Alexander, whose numbers were way better for 5 years, is overrated.
Yeah, but
Definitely
don't you think the offensive line for Seattle was better? I mean, they had 2 Hall of Famers. The other, I don't know who the Rams. The Rams had Orlando Pace actually, so they
How long
did
did
have
Unger play for?
Unger. He wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he was there
He didn't
yet.
get there till after Sean Alexander.
Yeah. I don't
That's
think
the only
so.
other lineman I can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's Sean Locklear and like.
Well,
You
then
know,
we have to say
go
that
back.
Marshawn Lynch is overrated too. Because the year we won the Super Bowl, we had the most expensive offensive line in football.
Oh, man.
I don't know if it was the best. Might have been the most.
Semantics. You guys and your damn semantics. So every player would have been better than Sean Alexander if they had his offensive line.
No, I'm not saying that. I don't.
Oh,
think that's
Ricky
true.
froze.
Uh-oh. You're still there.
Yeah, Ricky just dropped.
Does that mean that the call didn't end? But
That's right. I need to go to bed anyway. Oh, Ricky joined.
yeah, well, we can cut this off.
He's back.
We got-
Oh, wait.
if you got a
Finish that
45
Marshawn
show-
Lynch thought?
The Marshawn Lynch. We had the year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. We had the most expensive offensive line in football. That was with Unger and whoever else.
They didn't. Not
So
very good
Lynch
players.
Lynch was only good behind a good offensive line.
The only argument I can come up against that is that the offensive lineman didn't jump into the end zone and grab their dick. Becoming the greatest TD celebration of all time.
I'm saying if your argument is always that this person was on a better team, so other people are better than him because they weren't on a better team, even though they put up worse numbers on their worst team. That makes no sense.
The only argument I'm making is that Sean Alexander is overrated. The only reason I'm making that argument is because it's a very strong argument made by one Kyle Hooker. I know he's listening right now.
That's a bitter man.
Seahawks had Okung, James Carpenter,
Okung's
Max
still
Unger,
tired up.
Sweezy, I guess, and Breno Giacomini.
And Sweezy was back
Oh,
this year.
of course, Giacomini.
Yeah, he was. So I mean, I don't know. That's decent, I guess. Like, they're not. None of those are Hall of Famers, though. I don't think.
Sean Alexander had way superior numbers rushing and touchdown wise than Steven Jackson did. But he's overrated, and Steven Jackson's underrated.
For
that makes
a longer
no sense.
period of time. Is that what you're saying, or no?
No, Steven Jackson's peak was 7 years to Alexander's 5. But Alexander's numbers during his 5-year peak were way better than any 5-year stretch Steven Jackson had. Like, his minimum rushing was like an average for Steven Jackson over that period.
Well, maybe I'm wrong then. I don't know.
Just saying. Everyone makes the argument.
I don't know. I mean, I think I just feel like he was real good for a long time, and not to say that I don't think. I mean, I think that
He was above
Alexander
average.
was good.
He was
but
putting up just over 1,000 yards rushing, but like most of his years were like just over 1,000 to 1,100, and then he had 1 year of 1,500, 1 year of 1,400, and he only had 1 year where he had double-digit touchdowns.
that's kind of surprising.
He was a super liked running back. People loved him.
But his quarterbacks were Sam Bradford. Let's see.
He was gone before that, wasn't he?
No, that was.
Bradford.
I was going back for the years. Let's see, for his 1,000-yard seasons. 29. So in 2012, it was Sam Bradford. 2011.
What do we call him? Matt Hasselbeck.
Sam Bradford.
Are we thinking of him as like a Hall of Famer now too to hurt Alexander?
Definitely not. But he's better than Sam Bradford.
Matthew Hasselbeck.
He probably made less money than Sam Bradford.
But
Mark Bolger. Mark Bolger was most of the time.
Well, there's the first 3
Sam
years
Bradford
are all Sam
probably
Bradford.
made more last year than than fucking Hasselbeck made his whole career.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So Mark Bolger his last year was 2000. Let's see, 2008.
I hated that guy.
Yeah, he had a 57 completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Let's see, 2007. He was better. He had 12 games, 58% completion, 11 touchdowns to 15 interceptions, so still not very good, I guess. He might have only had one good year. Oh, yeah, right here. 2006, 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions.
Yeah, you hate Tony Romo as a player and as an analyst. How do you feel about his golf game?
From what I've heard, he's a very good golfer. He just backed out of a tournament, though.
Yeah.
To go to a funeral. So
that's a valid reason.
Mad respect there.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I hate him. He was a great fantasy quarterback. Not that I ever drafted him.
Fun to watch. I mean, he was always a borderline guy. You're like,
He's one of those guys. He wouldn't have got hurt so much if he'd get the ball out of his hands. He tried to make more out of everything. Scramble, run around, try to make a big play out of nothing.
Broke his collarbone.
Like at the end of the game, you could tell that he was always going to choke. That's what I felt like. I always felt like, no, even if he played the whole game really well, like at the end, you knew something was going to happen. He's going to throw a pick. That's what I always felt like. I don't know why. Just based on watching him, I guess.
Yeah, no, I never had confidence that he would. Although he actually had one of the most. He's got some of the most fourth quarter comebacks like the NFL.
I know. But
also,
so does the Lions quarterback. What the hell is his name?
Stafford?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trust him at all. But okay, Matt, you want to wrap this up so you can go to bed?
Yeah, Vega got to go to bed.
Yeah, I start working 7 hours.
But
all right, well, this is a surprise episode. Sorry I forced you guys to stay awake and talk to me, but
no, I'm good.
One other quick thought: most overrated movie since it's Oscar week.
Ooh, that's tough. I feel like it's got to be some movie that we've never actually like people don't watch. One of those Oscar movies that wins, but no one ever saw it.
The English Patient, Titanic.
Titanic could be up there.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever watched that all the way through in one sitting.
it was a really long movie, wasn't it? I mean, like 3 hours or plus, I think. But
I'm trying to think of movies that are thought of as like the greatest of all time that are. Oh, Ricky's frozen again, but like is at least one of the Godfather movies go down as one of like the most overrated of all time.
yeah,
They weren't all
think
great.
Forrest Gump is not. It's not overrated completely, but
I almost said it, but I was like, you know what though? It's not though, because I can think of like you can
Well,
sit and watch any
the
20-minute
is,
stretch of that movie and it's
it
great.
won like the Oscars over like Shawshank that year, I think. And Shawshank is like, in my book, it's pretty damn up there high, pretty high.
It is. That's a tough matchup, but
Yeah.
I would rewatch Forrest Gump before Shawshank.
You would? Oh, okay.
For
I wouldn't.
rewatch.
I mean, I guess I might too because of more of a. I guess it was more funny. I probably, if I like what I would say in my everyday life, I probably quote Forrest Gump more than I do Shawshank for sure. But I mean, they're both great movies. I'd say, not completely overrated. Uh-oh, we lost him.
Yeah, he froze and then dropped out again. We got to figure out that internet situation in that garage better.
Get a booster. I think they're only like $10 or $15 on Amazon.
You think it'd be fine? It's like straight above, pretty much, but
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
all right. Well, we can just bail this time.
Okay, that's good. Well, you guys can add
Listen
to
to an
that if you
episode
want
or
to.
something.
You guys can add to that for your guys' side if you want, just so you don't. I mean, I don't know. It's up to you, but
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably edit it into an episode. I don't know if we'll talk about something else for a little bit or what. Or
yeah, that's what I mean. You could that way you're not strictly sports, because that's basically since it was unplanned. That's the easiest thing to talk about for sure.
yeah, well, I didn't know Ricky wanted to do more stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. Cool. Okay, well, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, peace.
Yep. Bye bye.